Hey guys!
Hey guys!
Welcome to another episode of FLINTFACE Family. I said we'd be doing them again. Last time we did... You okay, Joey? He just ran around. There's a staircase there. He ran around it. And then he didn't come out the other end. We just heard a thump. You okay, Jojo? Alright. You alright, Mom? So, speaking of cool runnings...
Sanka, you dead? Yeah, man.
This is a really cool new episode called 90s Rich. Before we get started though, you can definitely check out our new store, which is not new, but none of you have visited it. So, FLINTFACE.com, if you just scroll down a little bit, you can see buy our merch or support us. We have Old Hope t-shirts from our 2014 album Hope. Please buy them up. It's a great t-shirt, it's super soft, super cozy, but let's get rid of them, people. So you can definitely help support FLINTFACE, what we do, what we talk about, by buying our old merch. We have FLINTFACE Woodshop t-shirts, which we are going to keep making, but I want to come out with a new one maybe, so definitely go check it out, buy them up. I'm gonna throw up a sale before this video's up, so by the time you go to FLINTFACE.com and go to our merch section, there'll be a sale on all of our merch. Buy it up! Get it out of here. You can also support us and what we do by going to patreon.com/FlintFaceFamily. We want to thank our 5 Patreon supporters now. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Anyway, let's get started.
Alright.
So,
You okay?
these kids keep doing laps and then they keep disappearing and slam.
About. Oh boy.
This is the way it's gonna treat people. This is our new normal. See, we're getting text messages right in the middle. It's so distracting. Hey Chris, what's up, man? Alright, noted. We're talking about the new song.
Just ignored it.
You just got swiped. So being broke is super trendy right now. It's what we all do. It's what we're all into, right? Or being in debt.
Yeah.
Tech has us constantly chasing the latest and the greatest.
Yeah.
You know, and this is an Apple Watch Series 5. I just got it. I can't wait for the Series 6 to come out tomorrow morning, I'm sure. Or the 10, or this is an iPhone 11. They already talked about a 12. Why am I even trying? Follow get off the treadmill,
Never
people.
Catch up. Yeah.
You'll never catch up. Social media leaves you feeling like less about yourself. And I follow like low life car guys. So like it's not a lot for me to achieve that level of success or whatever they live. But you follow some moms, some of them are upper scale, higher end financially. How does it make you feel sometimes?
Well, you know, they have nice things that I probably will never have.
And it makes you feel a certain way.
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, yeah, everybody knows social media, depending on who you follow, can make you feel, you know, like you have to
Keep up with the Joneses, or the Janets, or whatever, or the Karens. We don't really like that term. It's kind of mean, actually. But anyway,
True, kind of.
yeah, we don't like terms that make fun of people. We try to avoid them. But
we try to be nice.
we try to be. But
Anyway.
you know, like even with like Instagram and stuff like that, there's images.
There's that. Everybody says, you know, you post the best version of yourself on Instagram. So that includes the stuff you have and use on a daily basis.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and it just makes you feel like whatever. But we have a solution to that. We do. And if you don't want to keep chasing that, if you don't want to keep feeling bad about yourself, you can actually live that lifestyle. 30 years ago. Not now. You could be 90s rich. And what inspired this particular whatever FLINTFACE family was we were watching on this little TV right here. We were watching Back to the Future 1 because you always start with 1. Then we started watching Back to the Future 2, and it made me giggle a little because when Marty got back and his parents were like, they're no longer like losers or whatever they were trying to portray. Now they're rich and successful, and he's an author, and their house was so luxurious. Yeah. And we started just thinking about 90s movies where like back when you were a kid and you were watching, you were like, wow, man, that was an 80s movie, but you're like, man, I was like, they've got a VCR, a laser disc. Look at that peach and cornflower blue furniture. And brass everywhere. It's gorgeous. But back then, that was hot buttons. But now you're like, you know, you throw that stuff in the garbage. Right. But you can go back and you can be 90s rich. So, for example, think about like how you wanted a. I always think about when I was a kid how like Vanilla Ice had his lines shaved in his head. Oh, yeah. And I remember when I had hair, I got that done.
You did?
Yeah, I went to the barber, George, the Italian George, and I can't remember his wife. And all the kids, all the guys at school would go there, and they shaved lines in my head. And I went home, and my dad screamed at me, and I was like 13, and I cried as a 13-year-old, and I felt so bad. He made me feel like, but you know, he's like, no son of mine's gonna look like a set of blinds.
A set of blinds.
But it was funny because it was so important to me back then. And I was thinking about when the iPhone 3 came out. Remember we had to have the iPhone 3, and we were like, I'm gonna go into debt for 2 years to own the iPhone 3. It's worth it. And oh, she's dancing.
It's because you clapped. Dance. Oh. Dance.
We thought a nice way, if you're struggling financially, but you're tired of being a poor person like us, and you want to have some dough, you can go out and get some 90s gear and set your home up, and you can talk down to your friends when they come over for dinner as they sit on your brass armed chair or whatever, and you put on a nice VHS of, I don't know, Van Halen behind the scenes or whatever, and you can be like, you don't have a VCR, and they probably don't actually. So today, I think we want to recapture that excitement of the iPod, the Nintendo 64. Gosh, I had to write stuff down. Baggy Tommy Hilfiger jeans, VCR, cassette players, Blu-ray discs. Blu-ray was like, what, a month ago? We all needed Blu-ray versions of everything?
It doesn't feel like that long ago.
Now you and I literally just shoved all of our Blu-rays in a crawl
You
space.
put them away in like in storage.
A haunted crawl space.
Who actually takes out a DVD and puts it in anything?
Okay, let's look at some 90s have-to-haves, and let's start upgrading everybody, or downgrading. It depends how you feel. Back to the Future 2 house, we talked about that. I remember they had the telephone thing. Remember the video phone? And Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers was in it.
Oh yeah.
And he convinced him to
That's right.
do some scam and put his card in. So we're all worried about getting chipped. They were planning to chip us back then. But he put his card in, and I don't know what he did, and then his boss yelled at him, and he
Boss came on.
faxed him!
Read my facts.
Yeah. Oh, is that what he said?
Yeah.
How irrelevant.
Fired.
And have you guys had any insurance company or whatever ask you to fax them something recently? You're like, who am I? Did I get a DeLorean phone? Who am I talking to? Somebody from...
That was supposed to be 2015?
That was supposed to be 2015. Uppies! Still a great movie. I'm not trashing that movie. Another one is Richie Rich. Richie Rich from I don't know, 2002. Macaulay Culkin, his voice was starting to crack a little bit, I think. He had like a navigation. His parents were lost at sea, and there was a tracking device, so they had GPS on his big TV. Did anybody remember that movie?
I've seen it, but I don't remember. It wasn't
Memorable?
It wasn't really memorable.
We love Macaulay Culkin.
We do. But it wasn't one of his most memorable. I mean, come on.
But after Home Alone 2, whatever. But an honorable mention is the Talk Boy. Did you have a Talk Boy? Did you?
I did have
you
one.
use it?
I'm sure I did.
Did you use it to
I
spy?
probably used it. I think I got it for Christmas or something. I'm sure I used it the first few days. You know, like,
Yeah.
you know, when you get something for Christmas, you use it for a few days and then you forget about it.
And then the Talk Boy 2 comes out. But yeah, I remember the Talk Boy, they were like, in a commercial, I'm gonna see if I can find a clip, they were like, spy on your parents, or your sister, or something like that. And they was like around the corner with like a...
She was like on the couch with her boyfriend or something.
So, yeah, but the Talk Boy, I remember he was like, this is Mr. McCallagher, credit card.
Hi kids, we're home early.
Remember that? It was good. It was totally not realistic and totally unbelievable. And if any adult was that careless. Another movie we have to mention is Blank Check. Do you remember that movie?
I don't remember any of these.
I think it was like mid-90s. So I was like going into my
remember the name of it.
like 15, 16s. So I didn't really care that much. But now watching back at those movies, there was this one part, if any of you watched Blank Check, that I saw recently that was appalling to me. There was a woman detective in that movie. And at the end, the boy was like, what, 8 years old?
Yeah.
Who got this blank check and wrote himself $1 million or whatever.
Yeah.
She kisses him because he had a little crush on her, like a little. Whoa.
Oop.
She kisses him on the lips, and immediately I was like, what if a 30-year-old dude was kissing an 8-year-old girl on the lips? Not only would her dad be out in the front yard beating him, but we'd all see it on the news.
Beating him.
So double standard. Double
Just thinking,
standard.
I don't want to. Whatever. That lady is.
If some lady was kissing my 8-year-old boy, why was this acceptable in the 90s? So not only are we talking about outdated technology. We're talking about a really uncomfortable, outdated
is.
standard. A little weird. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Foot Clan hideout. They had boom boxes, VCRs, boxes, stacks of VCRs. They must have nunchucks. They must have been millionaires. They had arcade games with 16-bit graphic, perhaps. A dream world. But now, if you guys saw a VCR, you'd be like, who put this burden in my life? I just hit a VCR behind our TV yesterday.
Sorry.
And one more movie that I thought of was National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, that's good.
With the neighbors.
Todd and Margot.
Margot
and Todd.
Todd.
And why is the carpet all wet, Todd?
I don't know, Margot.
And they had a laser, no, it wasn't a laser disc player. It was a CD player, a compact disc player, I'm sure they called it.
Remember
And-
CDs?
And the ice from the gutter flew through the window and destroyed their beautiful pink carpet,
Probably,
mauve
yeah.
carpet, I think it was. And
Yeah.
glass, lots of glass. I think we're losing momentum here. Toys that you could buy and be rich. You'd be like a rich kid right now. Besides the Talk Boy, would be a Gigapet.
I had one.
You had a Gigapet?
Yeah, but it wasn't that. It was kind of like the off-brand, I think.
If it's in a box in your
No, maybe
pants.
it wasn't.
Oh, Tamagotchi? No, that was not off-brand.
Yeah, no.
That was the cool kid one.
Yeah, I had that.
It's probably dead in your parents' attic in a box. Probably smells
gone
right now.
forever.
Bop it! Did you have a bop it?
I remember.
It was.
I'm sure
You twist it. You punch it.
I remember it.
Okay. The skip
No,
it.
you didn't. Wait. Oh no, what's a bop it?
It's like this thing where you twist it.
I know that confused me. Skip it.
It's like a Simon
I had to
Says.
skip it. I don't remember what the bop. I don't
Do you remember the song from Skip It? Go. It had a counter. It had a counter on it. You could count how many times you
Yeah.
skipped. This is before.
It's fun. But you know what?
before
That's a good way to get your kids to exercise.
Furby. Who doesn't remember Furby?
I remember.
Did you have a Furby?
No, I haven't. I don't think I wanted a Furby.
If you Google Furby, I think you'll find a lot of Furbies online with their fur removed, and you just see the mechanics and the big eyes.
Gremlin?
They look like a gremlin, which is a movie I don't know much about. Beanie Babies.
That was also from the 90s.
Was it? No, Gremlins was the 80s.
80s, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Beanie Babies
Beanie Baby.
was 90s, I would say. And all I can, whenever you say Beanie Baby, everybody had to have one. But all I remember is the picture of the couple getting divorced in court with Beanie Babies spread all over the floor, and they were divvying them out like who was gonna like
That's insane.
what do you call it? Custody.
Are they still? Do you think they're still worth anything?
If you think a Beanie Baby is worth anything, then it's worth a lot. But if you actually know if they're worth anything on the market, let us know because I'm
What's that
curious.
website that? I guess it was eBay. Never mind.
What is that website? What do you call
I
it?
thought there was a different.
Amazon.
I thought
Amazon?
there was a different website that you could like auction, like the same kind of thing as eBay, but it was like more like obscure stuff that was like worth a lot of money. I don't know. I'm crazy.
Beth's running on dial-up right now. She hasn't gotten much sleep lately.
I don't sleep anymore.
Old gaming systems. I put it on the list, but I want to be very careful when I talk about Nintendo 64, GameCube, Nintendo, the original PlayStation. You know, because Super Nintendo,
Game Genie.
Game Genie.
For the
Did somebody
What's the little
say
one?
Game Genie?
Game Boy.
You want to go play
Game
Switch?
Boy.
Go play Switch, JoJo. You know how to do it. Problem solved.
Wow.
The reason I put old gaming systems on the list is because they're incredibly significant to the times, but they're really not irrelevant, even if they are old. But the reason I put them on the list is a caveat to this. Because have you ever gone back and played an old nostalgic video game?
Yes, you and I did.
How long did we do it for?
A long time.
But
No,
how?
a couple days.
Couple days.
Yeah.
When's the
Not
last?
like straight through.
Yeah. Our kids, it was a mess.
They were okay.
No.
Just tossed in some bread.
We played for like maybe 2-3 days. That's because you found out you could rewind in the emulator. But
Come on.
the reality is that I was alive. I got the first Nintendo when it came out in 1985-ish.
Two.
If you go back and play it now, it's kind of lame. It's not that fun. The games are just getting better. And I'm one of those old guys. There's certain things I'm nostalgic about, but they're not that fun.
No.
Some of them are. Some hold.
They're actually hard. I feel like they're harder back then.
They're insanely hard.
You can't.
Old arcade games, old Atari games are brain numbing hard. And also, Why? Oh no! He comes in with this part of it.
Where's the controller?
Alright, we gotta stop. Alright, well, games. Why are we getting attacked by lasers here? This is crappy light. This is patreon.com. And they're really hard, like you said. They're really hard. And you kind of get bored really fast.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Have you ever played Nintendo? What's the new one? Call the Wild? What's the new one for Switch? I can't remember the name of it. You know what I'm talking about. It's awesome.
Which game?
The new one for Switch. The new Nintendo.
You didn't say which game.
The new Zelda.
Zelda.
Sorry. Did I call it the Nintendo?
Yeah.
I think I'm seeing the Z turned up. No, what was it called? The
Yeah,
Zelda.
something about Call of the Wild. Something like that.
It's definitely not Call of the Wild, but Taste of the
it's
Wild.
similar to
Dog
that.
food. But it's open world and it's amazing
Yeah,
and it's
really
incredible. And then you go play. I was playing the original Zelda, which I got when it came out, and it was okay. But I only got halfway through, and I'm like,
Yeah, you kind of just lose.
with your little sword hitting ghosts. It's okay. If you have a problem with what I just said, it's really not that
Sorry.
important. Tech, tube TVs. Who the heck wants to carry a tube TV? I just went to dump 1,060 pounds of trash from the RV at Waste Management yesterday, and the one thing they don't take is a tube TV.
They don't even want.
The cat came back the very next day.
Dump doesn't even want your tube TV.
Have you ever seen a 36-inch tube TV? Have you ever carried one? I have. Talk about blowing out a tube. Ha! Got it! Beepers. Beepers were so hot. I remember kids used to have them. I remember I bought one off a kid. I didn't connect to anything. I didn't pay any monthly services. I had no money anyway.
You just wore it to look cool.
I just wore it to look cool.
Everybody's like, how come Joe's beeper never goes off?
I'm a loser. I was a loser because it didn't go off, and I was a loser because it was a fake beeper. So, but beepers were a status symbol, y'all.
I remember having to beep my dad.
So you don't want to get one of those if you're going to be rich like the 90s now, because if you do get paged, you're never going to find a payphone that works to call that person back. Do you remember the mini disc, the little plastic? It was a little CD inside a plastic case.
Yep.
They sounded good. They didn't scratch.
They never really like took off.
No, I worked at Best
They were
Buy
never
when
really
they came
popular.
out. They had the Fugees had one. Life is a highway.
That's not the Fuji.
That guy had one. I don't remember
Okay.
his name. The original version, not the remake of it, the country remake of it, which is good. But there's only like maybe 10 artists that had
Yeah.
that.
They never really took. I wonder why they never really took off.
I don't know. Because they
Did you
didn't
see them in any movies?
throw as far. Yeah, and I remember seeing a few people use them, but the players were expensive and they just weren't. They
That's
just
why.
never came down
Probably
in
because
price.
you could lose them really easy too. Anyway.
Yeah, well, the disc, you could buy a disc, never lose it. It'd still lose it to scratches. I mean, how many discs?
Very true.
I got in a car accident. I got one car accident, hit a small Geo Metro, and then he flew into a Volvo.
I'm not surprised.
And the Volvo took off, so that was seedy, because it was a nice Volvo.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I was reaching for a crawler. My fupa was like huge, and I was trying to reach for a bear claw on the floor of my dad's Chevy Lumina. I don't remember what it was called. Lumina.
Yeah.
And I wailed into it, and I had the Heartbeat of America vanity plate on the front because that used to be cool. And I still have it actually in a box. It was all bent and destroyed, but it was all overreaching. But I remember how many times I almost got in an accident.
Reaching for a CD.
Yeah, looking through the CD Bible.
Oh yeah.
And remember we found ours? This huge pleather, faux
I
leather.
saw somebody driving the other day with a visor
How old were
of
they?
CDs. I couldn't. They went by too fast. All I saw was looking at that because I was like, what?
Twinkled at you. CDs and we had it.
It's really painful.
Oh my lord. Pretty old. Tapping at our light. We're not tapping at your heads like a bunch of pigeons. Come on, man. This light doesn't want to work with us. It's freaking out. Alright,
Shut it off.
so that you know, what would it cost to buy a new light?
In the 90s.
Moral of the story is, you can go to a junkyard and probably find half of this stuff. Some of this stuff you can't get because it came back around again, because everything goes in like 30-year cycles. And then if you get too old and you try to be like 80s rich, 70s rich, you're okay. You get like 60s, 50s rich, then stuff becomes antique and expensive.
I was just gonna say some of this stuff is antique.
That's what I'm saying. You can't
Yeah.
you can't get in your DeLorean and go too far back because then stuff
Then
gets too
it's-
expensive.
Now you're back to.
Yeah. Back to expensive.
Back to the future.
Back to the future. Got it! And then I want you guys to talk down to your friends, and they're gonna be like, "Why is he doing this? His house is so ugly." But you know,
You are.
90s rich. All right, guys. I hope you like the new version of this. If you don't, sorry. Okay, babies are coming. It's time to say goodbye. Don't forget, you can go to our store, FLINTFACE.com, under merch, and buy our old merch, our old 90s merch, and help bring in some new merch for us and support what we do. And also, you can go to patreon.com/FLINTFACEfamily. I hope this wasn't a train wreck of a vlog post.
Maybe, but we had fun anyway.
I hope you guys have fun. Bye.
Bye.